How are you? It is the final week of school, and I have a wonderful art challenge for you. So, to complete this school year, I thought it would be wonderful to make gratitude postcards to send to essential workers in your community. So, postcard art can be made from scrap paper, stamps, collage, if you have wrapping paper. If you have stamps at home, you can really have fun making a mixed media postcard. Postcard art can be an abstract painting that you get your ruler out later and you measure the correct size of your postcard, cut it out, put a stamp on it, mail it, and it's good to go. So you can really turn just about anything into mailable art. So attached in my dojo link for you is a document that looks like this, and it shows you the standard size of a postcard as well as the largest size of your postcard. So the smallest is 3.5 inches by 5 inches, and that's this size. And the largest is 4.25 inches by 6 inches, which is really big if you think about it. That just means that these sizes, anywhere between these sizes, needs a postcard stamp. If it's bigger than this, it just needs a letter stamp. That's it. That's the difference, okay? So you can make postcard art the size of an envelope, a standard letter envelope, and put a letter stamp on it and put it in the mail. It is so much fun to make art that you can send in the mail. So I want you to consider how you're going to be making your art today. What will your materials look like? Now, if you don't feel like getting your hands messy, I also have a link for an app or a website called TouchNote. It is an online art making program that helps you send your postcards to whoever you want. You can upload your artwork, you can use already created templates, and then you can just write your message of gratitude. And the people I thought we could send these to are the essential workers. So who are they in your community? Well, we know a lot of them are healthcare workers. So I have a couple of addresses to send if you're interested in sending them to St. Joe's or Southern New Hampshire hospitals in Nashua. There's also some different supermarkets because all those people had to get the food to us. And so even Market Basket, which is a very, very great supermarket everybody goes to, and that's in South Nashua, so I even have the address for them. And there's even volunteer services. So volunteer services are like, for example, people who take time out of their day to deliver food to school families who might have been getting their lunches at school but don't have money to do that on their own. So a community group that would provide these volunteer services, one's in Nashua called United Way, and I have their address as well. Now, of course, there's plenty of other people in your local community that you might like to send them to. So feel free to do some research on your own of who you might like to send some gratitude postcard art to. So if you have a piece of abstract art that you've created, or when you're ready with your art, you want to make sure it's the right size, okay? So for this step, you're going to need your ruler, scissors, and a pencil, okay? First step is to start measuring your artwork. So I'm going to flip this over so that I can make sure that I measure on the back side and not get any pencil on the front side. I think I'm going to make this postcard 4 by 6 inches large. Maybe that's almost as big as it possibly can be, but not the biggest. let's see, I think I want to measure, like I want to get some of this area right in here because I kind of like the way that this green looks. So, okay. I'm going to put my ruler straight up against the side of the paper here so I know that it's straight. Okay, and I'm going to measure 1 inch by 7 inches. What is 7 minus 1? That's 6. So that's how long my postcard is going to be. I'm going to go ahead and do that up top here. I'm going to go over 1 inch and then again at 7. And now what I'm going to do is connect these dots. So from this point to this point, I'm going to just draw a line straight through. And then from this point to this point. Okay. Now I need to make sure that it's the 4 inches going the other direction. So this time what I'm going to do is go up to 4. Let's see. I'm going to start about at the 2. So let's see. If that's my 0, 2 becomes my 0. 4 inches from 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 6. Or I could have said to myself, 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay, good. So I started at the 2 and I end at the 6. Come over here. Put my ruler at the very edge of the paper again. So that's my starting point. I make my dot at the 2. And I go all the way to the 6. Okay. I'm now going to connect my horizontal lines from dot to dot. And then up top here, from dot to dot. And then if you notice, my fingers on the ruler are in the middle so that I don't bump a finger and make a bump on my paper. Okay, so I now have the size laid out. I'm going to just cut it using my scissors as best as I can. And what I do is I line up my scissor blades so that when I close the scissors, it's going to go directly on the pencil line. So I'm just going to right down and open them nice and wide. Make sure the scissor blade is going to land on the pencil and cut. If you have a paper cutter at home, that's a great time to use your paper cutter. So okay, I'm going to put the paper right into the corner of my scissors and go straight down. Okay, and you want to try to make this pretty nice because it's going to be going in the mail, and you don't want it to get stuck on any of the other letters, so you don't want any really jagged edges. So try to make it as best as you can. There we go. And I might use the scraps for another project a different day, so I'm just going to put those to the side, and here is my awesome postcard art. The back side, I can write the address, and over here I can fill in my message of gratitude. Okay. I have a stamp that says thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think I'm going to use this, and I have some stamp ink here. I'm just going to test this out. I haven't used this ink in some time, so I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. A trick, if you have stamps but you can't find your ink pad, you can use paint. You can paint the back of your stamp. I might have to do that. You can also use marker, but you have to consider if you have a dark piece of art like mine, you're going to need some like white paint. Markers might not be the best. So I'm going to apply nice pressure on my stamp, pull it off. It didn't really show up. So let's try again. I have some craft paint here. I like to just shake it up first and screw off the cap. And I like to use the paint that's in the cap. Okay. I'm going to grab my paintbrush. Whatever kind of paintbrush you have, here's mine. And just brush it on. You don't want it to be too thick, so make a nice thin coat of paint. And you can wash this off later so it doesn't dry onto your stamp. And of course, you can make a gradient. If you have a couple of colors of paint, you can paint on a gradient onto your stamp. That would look really nice too. My background has so much color already that I think I'm just going to do one solid color of paint on my stamp. Okay, there we go. Make sure it's not too thick, so I like to see all the detail.
I'm gonna try to get this about the same spot as before, right in the middle. Put nice pressure on it. Okay, pull it off. There it is. It says, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart." That's pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry and then I'll write my message and send it off in the mail.
Okay, so my postcards have dried. I made a few. This one I decided to paint. And here's one I did with a different kind of background for my stamp. But I made sure to leave space on one side for the address and write my message on the other. The stamp goes on the same side as your address, and you want to leave space at the bottom because the post office will end up putting something in there. So don't write down at the bottom. Okay, now all I have to do is drop these in my mailbox and they're off. I hope you guys have fun doing this and enjoy your summer. Bye.